let's do some 10 questions here. And then what we'll do is after
Okay,
that, we'll wrap up and we'll let people know where they can find you, what they should listen to,
sure,
what's coming up, all those kinds of things.
sure.
So
Let me look at it.
you bet.
I want to make sure I have the 10 questions here with
Okay.
so I can see it. All right. Okay. 10 questions.
Okay. So your favorite Tom Petty album, and I think I know what this is going to be, but if you absolutely had to pick only one, which one are you going with?
It's going to be Wildflowers.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's a masterpiece. You'd put that in the top 50 albums of all time.
Oh, easily. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
probably put it in the
Yeah.
top
Maybe
10
top
personally.
10.
Yeah.
10. Yeah. Yeah.
And like you said, I think the thing with that too, though, is everything is amazing about
Yeah.
it. The songwriting is amazing. The
Yep.
production, Rick Rubin just was exactly the right guy at the right time for
Yes.
Tom in that process. The band was at their peak musically. Ferroni
Yeah.
comes in and adds this different thing, the different
Yeah.
dynamic. Like all the pieces fell into place for the album to be what it is, and
Yeah.
it's
I
just
said
superb.
if I didn't have James, if I could pick a producer, it would be either Rick Rubin or George Draculis.
Yeah.
Because that work he did with the Jayhawks, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So those first two albums with the Jayhawks that George was producer on, Hollywood Town Hall and Tomorrow the Green Grass. I turned into a Jayhawks freak too,
Nice.
on top of the Petty stuff. But yeah, it's got to be Wildflowers, as my favorite album. But there are others I like too. I think I told you I really like the Yellow album.
Yeah, she's the one. Yeah, it's
Oh yeah, yeah.
overlooked.
I love it. Who gets to write a song called Asshole?
Well, that's a Beck song though. That's a cover, right? That's a
Oh,
Beck song. Yeah.
is that a Beck song?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was cover, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It's a Beck song. That explains a lot. So I should have known that, I guess. So, but yeah. So
Okay.
I didn't know. I like that one a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And again, like it is such an overlooked album. And I think because I overlooked it for years too, because it's a soundtrack album. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to be
Yeah, I
an
think
odd
that's what
set of
happened. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's got Walls on there, man. One of the best
Yeah,
opening lines of any song ever written.
I've taken to sometimes opening with Walls now, but I haven't come up with the drums and stuff for it.
Yeah.
And I'll play the harp parts of the circus version. I'll play the harp parts with the guitar break and that sort of thing. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, my favorite version of that song is the one there's a live version you can see online where they're doing it at the PBS soundstage, and Scotty Thurston plays the harp, and the way he harmonizes with Tom on that song is just like melts me. It's amazing.
In my fantasy, back in the day, Scott Thurston goes off with another band, and Tom puts out a call for a utility player, and I go, "Well, hello, Tom. I can play guitar. I can play 12-string pretty well, finger picking McGuinn style. I can play the harp. I can even bang out chords on the piano if you want. So I'd be happy to fit in there with for where Scott was working for you."
What a luxury, hey, to be able to bring Scott Thurston into your band. Holy hell,
man! Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so question 2: Mudcrutch or Traveling Wilburys?
It's got to be for right now, Traveling Wilburys, because I haven't gone back and listened to Mudcrutch.
Okay.
So, but ask me next year,
might change.
I might change. Yeah.
But again, talk about perfect records. Those two records, and it's what I love about the Wilburys is it was just for fun. Like it really was 5 massive stars who just came together and they said, "Well, Ego checked at the door. Everyone gets co-songwriting credit. We don't care who wrote the songs. We'll go out there and we'll just play them for fun." Like that's what music should be.
Yeah, and it's great music too. I mean, all those songs are great. Yeah, absolutely.
So if you could join the Heartbreakers on stage for one song, what would it be, and what would you play and or sing?
Well, I was thinking about this, and I think the best way I'd fit in with Tom would be on the harmonica.
Okay.
And I was thinking, I've done this a couple times sitting in with blues guys who did, and other bands that did Mary Jane's Last Dance.
Okay.
And I sat in with a guy named Hector Anchondo, and here in Brookings, he's a great blues player, absolutely killer. And I blew harp with him on a couple songs. He invited me to. I did those, and he probably thought it was done, but I didn't realize he was going to do one of his last songs was going to be Mary Jane's Last Dance.
Nice.
I hear him start up with that, but he's not in a key you'd recognize. He was like in D flat or something like that. Right. So I'm sitting there with my 12 harps listening, trying to figure out what keys, and then I got to figure which one to cross harp on that, right? Because in the album version, it's A minor, G, D, and you do third position harp with it, with a G harp, right? And so I finally figured it out, and I jumped up on stage with him. Right, he looks at me like this, and I started doing the harp parts, and the crowd just went wild.
Oh, that's
all
awesome.
The kids that were drunk. And when I blew in the harp parts on there, they just went absolutely nuts. I had chills going up my spine, like I felt like a real rock and roll star. And so we're just wailing on that, and I do that. And when the song's over, I take my harp and flip it out to the crowd. And all of a sudden I said, uh-oh, that was my D flat harp. I haven't got another one.
Yeah, I need that back, actually.
Yeah, I should. Anyway, so that was great. And then I've done that a couple other times where you come in, just people go, bands will play it, but they might not have a harmonica player, right?
Yeah.
You got a harmonica player to play those riffs. People just go nuts once the harp comes in.
Well, and it's one of those songs that the harp is the hook.
Like yes, that's the hook.
In there, yeah.
And so what I'm thinking is that, if Tom was in the mood, we'd just extend that at the end and trade riffs on harp and guitar and just go on for about 30 minutes and just melt down the whole house. So in my fantasy, that's probably how I'd want to do that. So.
And isn't it bananas, though, that was a song that was just kind of hanging around? He actually wrote Indiana Girl, the precursor to it, in the Full Moon Fever sessions.
Yeah.
I couldn't get anywhere with it. Wasn't happy with the lyrics. It didn't work and everything. Yeah. But then Greatest Hits comes around and they need a song. Well, I've got this one laying around. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the only, I still contend that is the only new song on a Greatest Hits album that actually belongs on the Greatest Hits album.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Incredible. Do you know the story behind You Wreck Me?
Yeah, You Rock Me.
And yeah.
One lyric. Yeah.
The whole band said, no, we're not doing a song called You Rock Me. And he comes up with You Wreck Me. And okay, we can go with that. I can just see Mike going, yeah. Oh yeah, now we can.
Now we're cooking.
So yeah. So yeah,
that's great. What a great riff that is, though, too. And again, it's one of those things where all the best riffs in rock and roll are the simple ones.
Oh, you mean on You Wreck Me?
Yeah. On You Wreck Me, and the tone on that guitar. Oh my god.
That's what I want to say. That's the quintessential rocking song, because you're just sitting there, D-A-E. You're doing that riff, and then you do G-D-A, and then you come back. And then he goes to that bridge, which is just great. And then you just slam into it again. And, if you got a guitar player, they're just wailing away, So, and that's just such a straight ahead rock song that, I don't even have to think about it. I just get up and do it. I've got it so locked in, and just bam. And you can, I'll do those first two songs I told you about. But then when I go into You Wreck Me, that really gets the crowd moving once they hear that, because they're not expecting that. You know what I mean? A lot of people might have played the other two, but not so much that one.
I think it's also one of those songs, though, that excuse me, sorry.
It's fun to play.
Yeah, exactly. And fun to listen to.
There's a lot of songs that aren't fun to play, but that one's just fun to play.
And it's one of those songs that even if you don't know that song, as soon as you hear it, like, the first time I would have played it with my wife sitting in the backyard drinking beers, it's like, who's this? I'm like, it's Tom Petty, sweetie. Oh, I really like this one. I've never heard this. Was this on the radio? Yeah, it was a single, but it wasn't huge. But yeah. It's a great song.
Yeah, the only problem with that is the original version. Somehow they capoed up, and they play it in half, and so. But then when he played it live, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
So when I saw, I only got to see him once. I saw him up in Winnipeg in about 2017.
Okay.
At the MTS up there, and
Winterpeg.
Winterpeg, yeah. Oh, I had a girlfriend up there. That's about half my songs are about her. My heartbreak stuff, but no, he was up there. He came through to MTS, and good Lord, Steve Winwood opened for him. Oh my God, he almost blew Petty off the stage, man.
Yeah, Winwood's great, man.
Winwood. And Winwood had a guitar player that was really fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know his name, but man, Steve Winwood is just monster. And no, that was a great show. I can't remember all the songs they played, but that was just I guess a fairly typical Petty show, and they just rocked for 2.5 hours, whatever. So.
Well, that 40th anniversary tour was a pretty set.
That wasn't that
they didn't change.
It was before that. No, that's about 2016 or 2017. Yeah.
Well, 17 would have been the 40th anniversary tour, the final tour. So yeah.
Was that when did he die?
2017. Yeah.
Oh, so then it must have been like 2016.
Okay.
So I'd have to dig out the ticket and look. But it wasn't the final tour, I'm sure of that.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the final tour. And no, that was a great show. And on the way to the show, my girlfriend and I got in this absolutely drenching downpour in Winnipeg, and almost, you know, it was flooding the streets and everything. So I'm got a song cooking around in my head, and the title of it's going to be Tom Petty Rain.
Very cool, because there's a nice tie into Louisiana Rain there. That works. That's good.
I'm going to tie it into the Tom Petty Rain and talk about, you know, how things were and going to see Tom Petty and stuff.
Awesome, man. I look forward to that.
Yeah. I haven't done anything with it. I haven't found the melody I want or whatever, but just the kind of the timbre of it and what I think would be cool. So don't tell anybody.
Okay. So I mean, this is going out live. So not live. We're not live. But,
yeah. Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell it, folks. Don't tell anyone.
Okay.
So you saw Steve Winwood open for Tom Petty, which, like you say, that's a pretty big deal.
Oh, that was a big show.
Who would be your dream opening act, though, at a Tom Petty concert? If you could have picked anyone from history, anyone at all.
That's a tough one, man. Two bands I like that would deserve to open them were, back in the day, would have been Wilco or the Jayhawks. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, but I think nowadays, there's this guy from Nashville named Aaron Tasjan. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I follow him on Twitter, and I saw him here in Sioux Falls, and I think he'd be a great opening act. He wouldn't I don't like to blow the house away, but he would be an artist he can really play.
Okay.
And he can really rock. A guy like that. Let's see. That's a tough one. Another band that would open for them. That's the tough. I think I'd like to open for Tom Petty.
There we go.
That I would be the guy. Yeah, I'd want to open for him. That would be cool.
See, I've interviewed musicians before, and I've been waiting for someone to say that.
Yeah, no. I was telling someone, one of the reasons I thought I couldn't be a musician because I thought I'd have stage fright, because I had a little stage fright when I played drums back in the day.
Right.
Because I was just the other night I got up from a crowd and it's been 2,000-3,000 people, to play harp with this band, and then I did 3 of my songs in between.
Yeah.
And I was relaxed as could be, So, there ain't any issue there, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'll open for Tom Petty if I'd had a chance. Sure, I'd open for anybody if I got the chance. Yeah, and I might suck, but I'm not afraid to. I'd do it. So yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so who is your favorite band member other than Tom?
Well, we already talked about Scott, but Mike on lead is such a genius.
Yeah.
I can't think of a lead player I admire more for sticking to the song the way he does, and coming up with just the economical solo you need, and all the fills, and he's just so great on guitar
and so versatile, man. Like, that guy can play anything. Yeah. It's unbelievable how good he is at just finding the bones of the song. Like I said, so there's a little bit in I just did Depending on You. That was this week's episode, which dropped today. Yeah. And there's a little bit of it's almost like a surf rock thing that he does, and it's just a little lick. It's not a solo. It's not a big part of the song, but it's just this little texture that he puts in to give the song exactly what it needs. And he does that all the time.
He's such a craftsman. Yeah. I just can't get over it. And you got to remember how much stuff he wrote with Tom. You know,
and other people.
Yeah. He's written so much. That was the music parts that got into Tom's song. Refugee. All that. Probably most of Refugees coming from Mike, right?
Yeah, that's Mike's riff. Yeah, you wreck me, same thing.
Yeah, all that stuff. So, so you gotta, and the other guys are absolutely fabulous too. But I think Mike is just beyond compare.
And he's a real musician too, right? Like, he's one of those guys. Yeah. He's a gearhead. He loves instruments. He loves the tech. He loves pedals and all that kind of stuff. And he loves the process. That's the other thing I was going to say to you. You seem to be one of those guys too that. The end result is one thing. When you get to the end in the song, you've written a song and you finish the song, that's fun. But you also seem to enjoy the process of getting to that part of, okay, well, what guitar do I use? What tone do I need?
Well, I like that part of I've got a song. How can I make it better by adding a little hooky things or the parts that it needs,
Yeah.
Do I put the 12 string in here? Does this have harp? And it's like building, something and want to see something pretty at the end, or whatever. So I enjoy the process. I enjoy the process of writing so much. Just a song. What's a song I did like that in the summertime? I'm pretty proud of how that sounds, and that just came from nowhere.
Yeah.
and we just built that, you know. I found the chords and the melody.
Yeah.
And the chorus, and you know, we had to keep it 4 minutes so I can put in every riff and thing I wanted to do, you know. But you know, if I'm playing that live, I can go into a G minor 7th, C7th jam at the end that's just all pure jazz, you know, and just keep with that. So that was funny. People the other night listening to that song were like going, "It's a jazzy little thing," you know. So like, you know, it's a little boss now. So that was kind of fun. Yeah. So yeah, I have to say, yeah, I like that, and I'm pretty sure I'd have a lot of fun working with Mike Campbell, you know, on stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And that's the other thing that I get with, you get that sense with Mike, is that he's played on a lot of records. He's written with a lot of people. He's sat in with a lot of people.
He does those videos where he explains all how he came up with everything, and that's just like, oh my God. You know, like that song on here on Wildflowers, Hard on Me?
Yeah.
Or no, Don't Fade on Me.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So here I am. I know he's in drop D, and I'm trying to figure out what he does, right? And I can't get it, you know, because he does that thing in the chorus.
Yeah.
Then I see the video, and he says, "Well, I take this shape up here and just do this," and I'm going like,
yeah,
like that, you know. So yeah, that's So it's great that he does that. You know, he explains how he came up all the riffs in Refugee, and all these other songs, and American Girl, and all that.
And when he explains it, it's just like he's explained, well, of course this is what you do. You know, it just sounds so simple, you know.
So you know, he changes guitar every song, you know. I've seen bands that change guitar every song, but Mike, you know, they got like 80 guitars on the road with him. He's changing every song, you know.
Yeah. But still, he'll go back to that telly, or he'll go back to his Rickenbacker, and there's certain the bedrock instruments that he's going to go to. But okay, so if you could see any Tom Petty concert from history that you didn't go to, which one would you go to, or is there sort of an era or a period that you would like to go see?
Well, I have to say that I would like to go back and have seen them just for my own edification, see them when they were really new.
Yeah.
You know, his shows got kind of standardized over the years once he had the final version of the band.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, I love going to Wilco shows. I've been to like 6 or 7, but they've gotten pretty much the same when you go to see them. You know, I know when I got to take my bathroom break because they're going to do, you know, that one love song thing, you know. But so it's like that. So I'd kind of like I'd like to go back to like maybe their first big headliner gig.
Okay.
When they were in the early version, you know, big, you know, maybe you know, when they came back from England and then they hit a Hollywood Bowl or some one of those big shows when they're really still kind of raw and just all full of that energy. Tom got pretty tired looking near the end, you know.
Well, he's old, man.
Yeah, you know,
his hip was not good, and you know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he got where he looked like he was a little bit done, and I would like to see him when he was just raw and edgy early on. So if I could opt for a ticket, that would be one of the shows.
It's funny that you say that, because that's one of the things when I answered these questions for my 100th episode, and that was one of the ones that I'd like to go to as well, is because I got the same thing. When you get into Tom Petty later in life and you see clips of him playing live, he's not moving around that much. He's playing the songs. It's still a good show. But in those old days, man, he was a lunatic. Leaping around and dancing and jitterbugging. It's like, I want to go see that Tom Petty, you know.
Well, I'd like to hear how raw and heavy the band sounded back then. You know, like when they did American Girl or Refugee, and they were just, you know, they had everything cranked up high and all that. You know, I don't know where I saw an episode of where they were filming Tom, and it's funny, the sound was like only coming from the monitors. So you're hearing what Tom and the band would hear on stage. And I was like, wow, this is pretty, you know, there's not much to this. I mean, they're playing the chords, they know what chord they're playing. But when you get out in the audience, of course, it's blasting. And I was like, holy wow. And then it felt really low energy. So I'm like, let's go back to where they played some club, you know, and they just pulled in off the road, right? And they're just still half lit or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And just, you know, it's just one of the nights when the magic happened and they just burned down the place. That's the kind of thing I'd like to see.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so we've already established that you're a big fan of the Yellow Album, as we're going to call it.
Yes.
So which is your favorite version of Walls? Walls Circus or Walls number 3?
I have to say, I listened to them both again today, and I really like Wall's Circus the best.
Okay.
And for various reasons. I like the 12-string thing in the center, because that's single note picked on 12-string. And I like the crazy circus sounds at the end and stuff. And it's got a little bouncy energy. Now the other one's more straight ahead. They're both in the same keys. It's a little bit more straight ahead. And then he does the cross harp on the B flat harp during that bit, you know. And I'm not sure that works the best, but it's, you know, it is what it is. But I decided that I probably like circus the best. But I can combine them now, because I can do the harp part for the guitar, and then when I get to the end, I can do that. If I get a double rack that I can hold two harps, that's what I need, so I can do the tonic and the cross harp. So that's two harps. God. And then, well, you know, John Lennon used two different harps on "Love Me Do," right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's got the main riff, and when he does the solo, he had to pull out a chromatic, I think.
Well, that makes sense, I guess. Now you said that.
You read the story. Yeah, you can't do the solo on "Love Me Do" with the C harp or the G or C harp that he uses on that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And harp, for some reason, I don't know why, is an instrument that comes very naturally to me. I don't have to think about it. I can pick out almost any melody without thinking on harp.
But it's just a great sound.
I love cross harping, although you don't, you know, with a 5-note scale, it's hard sometimes to come up with things. But I played harp for 3 hours the other night on all kinds of country songs and whatnot. Had a great time, and yeah, I have a great time just playing harp. So
yeah,
and I'm getting a little reputation for that around here too as a harp player. So that's nice.
That's never a bad thing, right? Because you can get some work. You can get some work.
Yeah. I get on an airplane with 12 harps. It's not like having to take, you know, your amp and your guitar. You know, call me down to Nashville. I'll play harp for you.
Yeah, your loading's a lot shorter.
Yeah. It's 12 harps, man. I can go anywhere, man. Well, you might have to have a little bag with your bullet microphone and a little 5-watt amp, you know, that kind of thing. If you're gonna sound like, you know, Blind Willie, whoever from Chicago, you know,
Blind Dag McWillie.
So whatever. Yeah. But anyway, no, I have a lot of fun with the harp, you know, and it gives me a lot of range, because I can do all the Dylan stuff.
Yeah.
You know, any harp, any guy that does harp, I can do it, you know. So,
oh man, I was listening to Highway 61 last night. That album is just, it's out of this world. Like, I know that people didn't love Dylan going electric, but thank God he did, because if we didn't have that album, life wouldn't be much.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, the thing about it is most of that music on there is just straight ahead blues, 1-4-5 stuff. It's the crazy lyrics and stuff, you know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and like, have you ever read the liner notes?
Oh yeah,
it's just this weird flight fancy. What the hell is he talking about here?
Yeah, he you know, we could talk for hours about Dylan, and Dylan's stranger than anybody knows. I mean, he is truly a strange individual. He's probably a bodhisattva or whatever, you know, but he's a strange dude, you know.
Yeah, he is.
Even the way he walks and talks is strange, you know. But still, you never can tell, because I remember there was a video on YouTube or something, and Bob's up in Montreal or someplace, hanging out in a trailer, right?
Yeah. Okay.
He's talking to these kids in the street. Have you seen that video?
I don't think so.
The guy comes back and interviews him in the studio. I mean, in the trailer.
Okay.
Bob's just going on, and I'm like this after like 20 minutes. This guy's got a connection to something else that nobody else has. You know, that's the thing about him, you know. So
one off.
That's how it is. Yeah, with him. So.
Okay, so if you could pick any artist to cover any Tom Petty song, and I know this one's a difficult question, who would it be, and what song would you like to hear them cover?
Oh boy, you know, I'm not sure. I was thinking. I was, just as a joke, I was gonna say I want to hear Bob Dylan cover what is it? Listen to Our Heart. I want to hear Bob Dylan do Listen to Our Heart.
I could go with that. I don't know. I think that'd be a wheeze.
Yeah. So, yeah, I have that on my set list. I haven't done it in a while. I was fooling around today on the guitar stuff. So, you know, I ought to bring that one back in, man, because that's a nice song. I have this Taylor 12 string that I pull out for some stuff, and it just
rings.
I just love the tune, because I taught myself to finger pick the hybrid finger style with the two fingers like McGuinn does, so I can do like Mr. Spaceman and all that finger picking stuff. And when I get that 12 string out, man, it just wails, you know. Put on some compression, and
it's such a rich sound, hey.
Oh, and get it chingy chimey, and you can really fill up space with that. So yeah, just as a joke, let's have Bob Dylan do "Listen to a Heart," you know. You want her to think that'd be great.
Well, you know what? We're only probably about 2 years away from AI will be able to do that for you. You know, we'll be able to tell AI.
I was telling somebody the other day, I said, you know, your favorite movies, you're going to be able to dial up which actor you want to play which parts.
Yeah.
And so, and I said, and look, you can watch all those movies and never have to see Tom Cruise again. Put in another actor besides Tom Cruise.
Someone taller, just a little bit taller.
Yeah, whatever. No, I think it's scary, you know, like with the songwriting and everything, you know, you don't know who's doing what. I think we have to rethink it, because it's not really that original. It's AI's going out and stealing from everybody, and then just regurgitating it.
Yeah,
it's not original.
It's learning, and it will get to the point where it is coming up with, you know, original. It will get there to come up with original pieces, but as a music fan, I want to go listen to someone who's written a song. I want to go listen to Tommy Edwin sing "Empty Chair," because then I've got that connection with you on stage.
And you know what?
The AI is never going to replace that.
If you come to see me, the only pre-recorded stuff will be the drums and bass stuff.
Yeah,
there's not going to be vocals and things. You know, I talked to the Wilco sound man up at a show in Duluth, and he says, you know, Tom, he says, these guys are one of the few bands left that every instrument's being played live.
Yeah.
And I said, what?
I mean, playing to tracks, it's
if you knew what was going on. So sometimes I feel funny about having, you know, the looper, but I recorded all those myself.
Yeah.
You know, when the drums, I put in the bass and rhythm guitar. It's because I don't have a band. I couldn't have a band. It would be like, if I was going to have a band, I would be worse than John Fogerty or anybody. It would be like, those guys would think they were playing for Hitler, you know, telling them exactly, you know, I would be like, you know, no, you can't show up stoned, you know, and you know, play it like that, you know, and that comes from when I was a kid in Taiwan. You know, we were loose little rock and roll bands, but I went over to a country band.
Okay.
Hardcore country band back in the 60s. I mean, these guys with the cowboy boots and the greased back hair. And this guy I knew was auditioning for him. He was a pretty good guitar player. But man, those guys were tough. It was like, you're not on the beat, man. And I said, boy, if that's how they are in Nashville, those guys are a bunch of tough dudes, you know, music wise. So
what's his name? I can't think of his name. Buddy Rich, the drummer. Band leader.
Oh, he was
There's that audio that is of him kicking that guy off the bus in the middle of nowhere because he dropped like a B flat or something in the middle of the show. It's like, whoa, holy shit!
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, Zappa was like that too. Yeah. You know, and I'm like that. I want to be very well rehearsed. Not that we couldn't do things different, but you know, I that's why I can't have a band. I could hire some guys if I got to go to live shows or a little tour or something if I ever get to do a tour.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have been a band with 5 other guys and babysit them and all their problems and everything.
Hey, you never know. You just got to find the right guys, right?
Let's see, man. It's like, well, here you try to get a band together here. It's like, well, I can't because I got to go to soccer with my kids that weekend. You know, it's like, dude, we got to play. No, the wife, I got to do this for the wife, or I can't do that. Yeah. There's a lot of that
for sure.
Pickup kind of musicians. Bless their hearts, you know, they're family guys.
Okay, we've got 2 questions left. What song do you most frequently recommend to people who don't know Tom's music? And I know this, again, is a difficult question because it's a bit situational on who the person is, what they like, everything else. But is the one thing that you would go to and say, okay, if you don't know Tom Petty, listen to this?
Boy, I didn't think about that as much as I'd like to. And you know, it's a kind of a downer song, but I would almost say Good to Be King.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. It's he's got some songs with there's some deep darkness in him. that in his life. You know, he read about his divorces. I think that there was other stuff we didn't know what was going on. You could see it gradually over the years. He went from this kick-ass rock and roller kind of guy to this guy who was getting more beat up by life, you know. And the songs all reflect that. And I said, go listen to that song. He's telling you about what it's like to be a rock and roll star or somebody who thinks they're big and how life is kicking them in the ass. And that's just a great song in so many ways. I don't know if I have to go back and look at everything, but and it's a downer kind of a song, but yeah.
But it's a great song though too, and musically it's
absolutely
beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Where's the? I just got to look something up here real quick because it's relevant.
You know, he has one of the things that I love about that song is at the end when they're doing that repeating wind down kind of thing is he goes up and plays that one riff all through all the chord changes, just stays on that all the way through. It's hypnotizing, you know. But yeah, no, that's just an absolutely fantastic song.
And it's the thing with his voices, and like you said, he writes from a place of insecurity or darkness. His voice really helps. And there was a bit in Warren Zane's biography, Petty, he mentions that, you know, so Tom and Jeff both loved Del Shannon and they both loved Roy Orbison. And both of those guys have got that same thing. There's just a little undercurrent of sadness in their voice always. Even if they're not singing a sad song, there's that little bit of heartache in their delivery that they can lean into. So when you come to something like Good to Be King, then it's really, really useful to have that in your arsenal.
I'm looking at my own album. I probably could be accused of that too myself on several songs, like Phoenix or whatever. You know? So anyway, but yeah, no, I just pull one out of off the top of my head. I have to say that song. Cool. You know, there's just so many songs. What would you say is the most representative, or what's the one that?
Right.
Maybe what's the one that shows off as real songwriting skills? That would be it.
And if we were going that way, I think I'd end up choosing Crawling Back to You, because some of the lines in that song are just devastating, unbelievable.
You talk about a song that had me on edge for the longest time, and trying to figure out, you know, first of all, back then the chords I was playing, I would never think of the chord changes he was doing there, because I think there's a F and B flat or something in there. Because how many guitarists want to stay away from B flat, right? You know, unless they're capoed up.
Yeah.
And the guitar textures on that are just incredible. You know, on Crawling Back to You.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing about Wildflower. So many guitar textures that are so great.
Yeah. And they sound so, but again, it's that separation of sound too, so that you can really hear them clearly.
Like you know, like on Time to Move On, he doesn't use an acoustic for the rhythm. He's got that Telecaster. He's just wanging away on and it sounds so great.
Yeah.
You know, just playing rhythm on an open chords on a Telecaster. Who would think it
sounds like an old country song, right? I mean, it's
yeah. So
awesome. Okay, well, so I think we did talk about this earlier, but describe Tom Petty in 3 words.
Oh, I think I said absolute genius songwriter.
There we go.
You know, that's the first thing. Performer, absolutely great performer too. But when you think about Tom, I mean, it's all about the songs. Each one's got something in it, you know. He's revealing something, or he's doing something in words that's great or musically great. So